Rob gonna be here too?
He is. He's just back there. He's wrapping up on something real fast. No, the mayor, I think, is just wrapping something real quickly.
Get that email?
Over here.
You said?
Ready when you are.
All right. All right, I call the meeting to order at 6 PM. Please take the roll.
Alderperson Smith,
Here.
Alderperson Schmidt,
Here.
Alderperson Liebnow,
Here.
Alderperson Newman,
Here.
Alderperson Olson. Here. Alderperson Baker called earlier, so he is excused. We have a quorum.
All right, item number 2, overview of petition process and meeting procedures by city attorney. You want to state a few words, Pat?
I have no problem doing that. Are we supposed to say the pledge
Or not tonight?
tonight?
What was the question?
I thought we said the pledge.
We've got it with council, sorry.
So, my name is Patrick Madden. I'm the attorney representing the city of Mayville. This was presented to me because it's not something the city has done before. It's a little bit out of the ordinary. So I went through the ordinance and provided the city some guidance. I did send a letter, opinion letter to the mayor expressing my thoughts on it. And I think that this is an opportunity for the applicant / appellant to present evidence for the committee to hear and consider in making its determination as to whether or not to waive the requirements of our ordinance. The ordinance is straightforward on its face. I think that the applicability of the ordinance to this applicant is not in question. It's not a question of whether the ordinance applies or whether there's a technical defense to this. The question is whether the committee would vote to waive the requirements of the ordinance for this particular designated offender. And as I said in my letter, if the board here does vote to waive the requirements of the ordinance for this particular designated offender, I'm going to strongly suggest that you make very clear findings on the record as to the reasons, and that those findings be based on very reliable evidence. Now, this is not a matter of opinion or coulda, woulda, shoulda. This particular designated offender was represented by very good lawyers at the time that she was sentenced, who would have informed her of the implications of pleading guilty to this charge and becoming a lifetime registered sex offender. So there's no surprise here as far as that goes. It's just a matter of, whether or not there's other evidence that you would rely upon to make findings to decide whether or not to waive the ordinance. Any questions?
No? Thank you.
Thanks.
All right, moving on. Is there any citizen comments tonight that like to speak? Please go up to the podium and state your name and address for the record.
Jared Linskins, I live at 427 Willow Circle, so directly behind the address where she's residing. My children's playground actually butts up directly in the backyard. I'd like to stress the council to uphold the ordinance. I've had a number of incidents, I guess we'll call them, with her, starting with her trying to get close with my children, and a couple of questionable stories that I do believe most likely happened nearly as my children told them. But she's harassed my children multiple times. She's made not threats, but definitely had some ill things to say, I guess is the best way I can put it. I think having her there is a threat to my children. That's all I got for you.
All right, so
Thank you.
anybody else?
My name is Carrie Solis, and my address is 455 North Walnut Street. I don't live anywhere near her. However, my children were leaving St. John's one evening, and they were confronted by this woman who claims that my youngest child was thrown, which my oldest child says is not true. And secondly, she had a large dog that she threatened to release off of her property, and they were across the street from her property. She threatened all the children. There were 11 in total. 2 moms met me, and we called the police department that night. She posted a very wild story on the Nosy Neighbors that I kept just in case anybody would like to see it. But I think this woman is way too close to St. John's School to begin with, which is where my children also go to school. And she also shouldn't be speaking to children or threatening them in any event. So I think a couple of stories you guys are hearing should be taken into consideration, because I don't think that she should have contact with anyone else's children, period.
All right,
Thanks.
Thank you.
anybody else? Okay. Moving on, item number 4. To consider and feel a written warning by petitioner Tabitha, I want to say her name, Brukowski,
Yes.
of 424 Dayton Street in violation of city section 357-3, prohibited resident location and activities, penalties, exceptions. Report from petitioner Tabitha
Krukowski.
All right, if you want to go to the podium and just, if you have anything you want to add to your petition, we've got your petition on file, right?
And it's in the package, you've all been handed out.
Right.
So basically, I'm here to address you guys and state that I've been harassed via phone call to my cell phone. The message is saved in my voicemail still, from Mr. Linskis, whatever you pronounce his last name, stating that I spoke to his child on the way home from her, I guess, going to Quick Trip one night on July 19th, I believe the voicemail is still saved in my phone from listening to. I have him blocked in my phone. It's a government phone. I let Matthew, who I live with, listen to it. His 2-year-old child was allowed to run naked with no diaper or anything on the playset while I was in a visit with my children on video call. And I don't talk to children unless they are on the property.
Why don't we just, I'm going to just interrupt you for a minute. Just stick to the petition itself that you actually, whatever you file on a petition that you filed, just stick to what you said on the petition.
We have to stick to the agendized items, so you need to explain why you feel you have an exemption. Or should
Okay.
have an exemption.
I do have disabilities, numerous of them, psychological, and now physical. I'm a little over 6 months pregnant with my 3rd child for my 3rd year in a row. I am being taken to my court-ordered classes provided by the judge, as well as doctor's appointments by my mother, who is present with me. I also get taken to grocery stores by both my mother and her fiance, who I live with. And we are looking at finding a new residence and everything out of the area where we originally came from. So I'm just asking for a little bit of time to get that settled in and get it finalized for that place, to be able to go there with my fiance and both of our service dogs. So basically I'm asking at tops another 60 days from today, and we should have the place finalized and set and moved out by then. And then I will not be in this county, the city, or anything anymore. I will be hours away. Because that is where I originally came from on April 15th of this year.
Okay. Anything else like that?
That should be about it. I being taken to, like I said, all my medical appointments for my mental health, as well as physical, as well as my baby appointments and court-ordered classes that finish on September 11th of this year. And then from there, we are scheduling all court-ordered classes to our new destination that we are looking at moving to.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, report from the police department.
Good evening. Ms. Kukowski is a registered sex offender through the state of Wisconsin for secondary sexual assault of a child. Tabitha was found to have established residency in the city of Mayville at 424 Dayton Street, and we found out this information through word of mouth. And one thing I want to clarify of how this information was found out is due to the fact that she stayed for a full sentence incarcerated, she's not required through state law to notify, nor does the sex offenders registry notify the city. And it all is a matter of her condition and how she was released. So I want to make that clear from the beginning that we were not notified, and it wasn't required by the state to notify us under the current registry laws. We found out that information, we did an investigation, and we determined that she was living at 424 Dayton Street. This address is in direct violation of Mayville City Ordinance 357-3, which states A, a prohibited location of residence is unlawful for any designated offender to establish a permanent residence or a temporary residence within 1,200 feet of any school, licensed daycare, park, trail, playground, place of worship, or any other place designated by the city as a place where children are known to congregate. How this measurement is decided is determined and defined by ordinance in 357, parent 3, sub C1 and 2. And that reads, for the purpose of determining a minimum distance of separation, a requirement should be measured by the following straight line from the other property line of permanent residence or temporary residence to locations listed above. 425 Dayton Street is located on the north side of the street and faces the playground of St. John's without obstruction. That distance from the front of the door of that residence to the playground is approximately 600 feet. There also is a school, church, and a number of other locations that are within that 1,200 feet of the place of residence. You guys do have a map of that location with an X on it in your packets. So the location is, in fact, and has been measured to be within the ordinance, is my purpose of explaining that. I also want to read the findings and intent of our sex offender residency requirement. This is in our statute book and is available online to all the residents as far as our sex offenders and where they can live. And the findings and intent of that states in parent A, repeat sex offenders who use physical violence, and sexual offenders who prey on children are sexual predators who present an extreme threat to public safety. Sexual offenders are extremely likely to use physical violence and to repeat their offenses. And most sexual offenders commit many offenses have many more victims that are never reported and are prosecuted for only a fraction of their crimes. This makes the cost of sexual offender victimization to society at large, while incalculable, clearly exorbitant. Furthermore, my agency has met with citizens that reside near that location. We've also met with the pastor and leaders of St. John's School who have great concern over offender living in that location that she has declared a permanent residence. Our agency first contacted the sex offender registry to inform them of the ordinance and inform Ms. Krokowski that she needed to vacate. When this did not satisfy my request, I then assigned an officer to make contact and inform her of our city ordinance and give her 10 days to vacate and comply with that ordinance. That 10 days would have ended on July 18th. On July 16th, she appeared and wanted to present her case with her ordinance with her right here tonight. So I suspended that 10 days to allow for this action today to occur. That will continue or go back depending on what the board decides tonight. And finally, I want to make one further statement. It's not my position to impose further due harm on Ms. Krokowski. It's not a personal vendetta that the police department or the city has against her. Our purpose and my purpose is to protect and improve the health, safety, and welfare of the citizens of Mayville by creating safe locations for our city's most precious resource, our children, so they can play and enjoy life without fear of being victimized. And I believe that's the purpose and intent of our ordinance and the reason we have set standards of where sex offenders can live in our community and where they can't. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Chief. All right, item 5, discuss deliberating action on appeal. So you guys have seen the appeal, it's all in your packet.
Mr. Mayor, I guess a couple clarifying questions before you start. I think you're
Sure, come to the podium, please.
just to confirm, Ms. Krokowski, you were up here for the purpose of stating your case, and I wrote down what I think it was. I just want to summarize it. Number one, you stated you were currently pregnant, and I think you have evidence of that. You stated you're disabled, but we don't have any evidence of a disability. Did you bring any evidence of your disability?
I do not. I have a whole entire sheet full of it.
Okay, but
So I didn't think that it was gonna be absolutely necessary to make the copy of the page, well, the 2 pages. The day that I had Ms. Gonstead, do the hip, strain that I have, which I have her photocopy within that packet.
And there's no evidence of a physical disability here, correct?
It's all mental, and I'm being prescribed medication for it.
And then the court-ordered classes that your mother is taking you to and from, are those in Mayville?
Those are not, it's within county though.
But they're not in the city of Mayville?
No,
Where are they?
Juneau,
Right there in Juneau?
Yep.
Okay. Did you bring any evidence of those court-ordered classes there in Juneau?
I did not.
And those classes end next month?
On September 11th, sir, is my last class date. It's every Wednesday that I go. And that started on July 10th.
And those are the 3 areas that you gave as support for your petition to have the board waive the restrictions, correct?
Correct.
And there were no other reasons?
No.
All right, so moving on, is there anybody who has any questions or?
I have a question, like I always do.
Jeff, go ahead.
It was stated before that 60 days that there is a residence. Is that residence actually picked out, ready to go? Or are you still looking?
We have a place in mind and we're just waiting for the homeowner / landlord, whatever, to call us back on the decision.
Okay, so-
But otherwise, we do have other options being helped by our state workers that we are working with out of that county. And they are also helping find a residence for us to go. And I told them that we asked for 60 days. I'll let them know tonight what the decision is to go from there. And they'll do what they can to also help provide proper residency for us.
So as of right now, there really isn't anything concrete.
There's nothing concrete right now. We're just waiting for that phone call back. It's been a little over a week now that we, went to go look at it.
I think I know where you're going with this, but I don't think it's our job to, whether we should grant an extension or not. I think our job is whether the ordinance should be upheld, and if she's presented enough evidence, to overturn our city ordinance. Correct me if I'm wrong, but
Actually, that's not where I was going, but I was just curious when you were stating, it was a question that came up on my mind, if there was somewhere actually that is in place right now.
all right, is anybody else?
I'd like to make a motion.
Sure.
First of all, Tabitha, you're made aware of the violation. I understand that. You were asked to leave. You had time to leave. We have laws and ordinances in the city. Didn't comply. You didn't leave. Tonight you're here in front of us. It's a sad situation. I feel for you. I feel for your victims, but I'm going to make a motion that the ordinance be upheld and you must leave.
I'll second that motion.
All right, motion made by Alderman Newman, second by Alderman Schmidt. Any more discussion? All right, seeing none, and take the roll.
Alderman Newman.
Aye.
Alderman Smith.
Aye.
Alderman Schmidt.
Aye.
Alderman Leibnow.
Aye.
Alderman Olson.
Aye.
Motion carries.
All right, thank you. All right, item 6, adjournment. Is there a motion adjourned?
Motion adjourned.
Second.
Motion by Newman, second by Leibnow, to adjourn at 6:20. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
So at this point, I think